Perhaps the oldest axiom in sports is that offense sells tickets and defense wins championships, and that statistic certainly may bear that out, although Saints fans may beg to differ based upon what transpired in February of 2010. Ken Trahan, sportsNOLAtv, and Super Bowl 51 is upon us. The matchup is set. The Atlanta Falcons and the New England Patriots. Patriots at 16-2, Falcons at 13-5. Overall, coming in, the numbers belie the fact that these two quarterbacks are really perhaps the two best in the league this year in Matt Ryan and Tom Brady, which indicates to me, with perfect conditions, with a stadium indoors, that we may very well see quite a bit of offense in this game, Brian. That's the way, at least on paper, it looks to me.
Yeah, it certainly looks that way, Kenny, and you're absolutely right. You know, you go back to the Super Bowl season for the Saints, and they went into the postseason ranked 25th in total defense. So you're right. You know, defense makes big plays at good times, and you're going to win a game. And I think that's ultimately what's going to happen in Super Bowl 51 is defense is still going to impact this game. If you look at all of the Patriots games in the Super Bowl, they've all, I think, under Brady and Belichick, they've all ended up 4 points or less. So, you know, I think there's going to be a tight game again.
Yeah, I think it'll be a tight game. But, you know, I've been looking at the whole scenario about it. Belichick, man, he's just a great coach. And he kind of, you know, when a team doing good, look like to me, man, he got a game plan to come up and stop that team. So they got Julio Jones. You're going to find, New England going to find a couple of guys on him. They're going to take him out of the ball game. So Atlanta going to have to beat him with other players. And that's what he do. He make other people beat New England. He's not going to let the stars beat him.
1 in 5 teams that have led the league in scoring in the Super Bowls. The Saints were the lone exception, Ricky. But what gets my attention is when the Saints won the Super Bowl, they forced 39 turnovers that year in the regular season. And in the Super Bowl itself, they held the high-powered Colts to 17 points, and Tracy Porter had the definitive play, a defensive play. As a defensive player, defense does win, doesn't it?
Yeah, and I think the two games that Tracy Porter had going down the playoff in the Super Bowl was the biggest two plays in the Saints history to me. I mean, those were just two great plays. I don't see no other plays that are bigger than those two plays at the moment that, you know, he did it. So I always take my hat off to Tracy. He played great when he was with the Saints. But that year was just, you know, they had some good defensive backs that year. They wasn't getting beat. You know, Greg Williams coached great. And they got the turnovers when they need them. The offense put enough points up. You know, it wasn't a whole lot of points, but it was just enough to hold on and win the ball game.
Let's take a look at the matchup. First of all, when the New England Patriots have the football, what to expect. The Patriots obviously have a lot of good things going for them. They're 8th in total yards, tied for 3rd in rushing. Remember that. It's an important stat. 12th in passing, good but not great. Points, well, you know where they're at defensively. They're number 1 in the league in that department, allowing less than 16 per game. So pretty impressive stuff. And the Patriots obviously are good, period, offensively. You have a great quarterback. You have receivers that are interchangeable. And Brian, as I mentioned, the thing that gets lost in translation is that the Patriots run the ball very well.
Yeah, they do. With LeGarrette Blount and Deion Lewis, they've got guys that not only can run the football but also catch the ball out of the backfield. And the thing that I like about Atlanta's chances here is Dan Quinn is a good defensive-minded coach. You know, he was with Seattle when they played in back-to-back Super Bowls. And so I like the matchup, okay, with him against Tom Brady's offense and Bill Belichick's offense and stuff, and Josh McDaniels. But you're right. You've got to be able to stop the run, and you've got to be able to put enough pressure on Brady. Brady's like anybody else, any other good quarterback. If you take them out of a comfort zone, get them off their spot, okay, disrupt their rhythm, and this is about a rhythm offense, okay, you've got a shot at them, and that's what they're going to have to do.
If you take away Edelman, it's Amendola. You take away Amendola, it becomes the other guy who we never heard of last week that came from Buffalo. So, or it could be, you know, the tight end, Bennett, or Gronk when he's healthy. Bottom line is, Ricky, that you take one thing away from Brady, he'll go somewhere else and hurt you.
Right. I mean, Hogan played good last week. I mean, you know,
played great, yeah.
Open, you know, but I think the difference going to be Atlanta going to know where these guys at. Last week, I mean, them guys were just running free. I mean, so I didn't know where the guy was at. So, I mean, I think it's going to be a big difference now. You know what I mean? When they played Green, they just didn't know where the receiver was at. So that's going to change this week. I think Atlanta will know where the old receiver was at. So it's going to be a lot tougher ball game. But, you know, I still like Tom Brady.
Now, let's take a look at the Falcons now. We want to look at their side of things. and see where they're at when the Falcons have the football and what to expect from them. We know just how good the Falcons offense is, and here are some of the numbers. We know that they lead the league in scoring, second in total yards, fifth in rushing yards, third in passing yards. I mentioned first in points. What that indicates to me, Brian, is that they've got balance. They run the ball extremely well. Devontae Freeman's been outstanding. Their offensive line has become really good once they brought Mack in, and of course we know how well they throw the ball.
Yeah, and their offensive line has been able to stay intact. I think it's the only O-line in the league this year that has played together for all 16 regular season games. And look, we failed to mention both these teams protect the ball with the best in the league. Each one has committed 11 turnovers. 11 turnovers in as many games, okay? So they both do a great job of ball security. And Matt Ryan has done a great job in the red zone, which was unlike last year. And when you've got Coleman and Freeman, not only as running backs, but guys that you can put outside, and they don't just run bubble screens. These guys run actual pass routes, so they take up linebackers. And this is where Belichick and Matt Patricia are going to have to figure out. He's got, just like Tom Brady, he's got a lot of pick your poison kind of players. You stop Julio Jones, I wouldn't be surprised if they take him out of a game. But they've got other people, Gabriel, Sanu, Austin Hooper, and then the two running backs. I mean, those are a lot of guys that you have to account for on any given play.
Well, I'll tell you what, though, it just, Belichick has always have a scheme for them guys, but I haven't seen Matt yet in the playoff, to get nervous like he normally do. Last year, and when he got to, big games, he kind of showed up a lot nervous. So this is the Super Bowl, the biggest game of his, one of the biggest games of his life. I think that, he's going to have to overcome that nervous part. If he can do that, I think Atlanta got a chance.
In the Pittsburgh game, the AFC Championship game, they did a great job of blocking the line of scrimmage with Branch and Oliver, I think the guys. I mean, these are two granite pieces, right? They just held their guy up, and they blocked that line of scrimmage. Le'Veon couldn't pick his spots. Coleman and Freeman are two different kind of beast runners. I mean, they'll take it outside. They'll run that outside zone scheme. So they're gonna challenge the Patriots to the edge, and we'll see what happens with that.
When you watch the Falcons in 2016, many people have made the valid comparison to the 2009 New Orleans Saints offense, and I think it is valid because the pieces certainly are comparable, and so are the numbers. When you look at things, total offense in 2009, the Saints were second. 2016, the Falcons first. Rushing offense, Saints were sixth. That's right, sixth in rushing in 2009. And the Falcons, you guessed it, sixth this year. Passing offense, Saints were fourth in 2009. Falcons were third this year. And look at total defensive ranking. Both teams overall ranked 25th. As you know, the difference with the Saints was the turnovers, the way they produced 39 turnovers. So that can change that ranking very, very dramatically, Ricky. The number becomes really obsolete when you find out that the other number is that you forced 39 turnovers.
Right, and they're going to come down to the secondary. Atlanta secondary going to have to make Tom Brady get rid of the ball quicker. And I mean, if the secondary can hold on to their guys, I think they'll have a chance. But if they just let him throw the ball quick, they're going to have to make Tom Brady hold on to the ball. Because if a guy open, he's going to find the guy. And what they're going to have to do is, if they cover their man, that'll get a pass rush time to get there. So that's going to be crucial for the guys in the secondary to play their role and to do their job. That'll get guys up front a chance to get there, because Atlanta do have some good pass rush off the corner. So if they can get these two young boys rushing off the corner, can get to Tom Brady, it can make a big difference. But if they got guys running all over like last week, it's going to be a long day for Atlanta.
Much like the 2009 Saints, the Falcons really good in turnover margin. They're plus 11 this year. When you win, and you win definitively in that area, you win games, Brian. It's that simple.
Yeah, the Falcons' defense has been much maligned and not given a whole lot of credit. But if you look at their last 6 games, I think they've allowed an average of almost 225, 230 yards a game, which is pretty stout. Okay, that's pretty good. Now, granted, over the course of the season, their numbers aren't as good. But, at this time of the year when it's meaningful for your team to be playing well, they are playing well on defense. And it's going to be interesting to see how Quinn and Richard Smith, the defensive coordinator, play against New England. Do they bring pressure like they did against Rodgers? Or do they play back, they drop in a nickel and they with 5 DBs and hope that four rushers can get to them? I don't know. I don't know if they can or not. So
Final thoughts, Rick?
But one thing I know, they'll coach better than Pittsburgh did last week.
Yeah.
I can guarantee you.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, Toyota of New Orleans is a proud sponsor of sportsNOLAtv. Our thanks to Premier Automotive Group and Toyota of New Orleans. Premier Automotive Group strives to deliver the best in quality, customer service, and price, and Toyota of New Orleans is no exception. They're a proud recipient of the 2016 Best in Town Award for their outstanding commitment to community outreach. Toyota of New Orleans features a large selection of inventory representing new and popular items at competitive prices, which makes shopping for your new or pre-owned vehicle hassle-free. Stop in and experience Premier's highlighted models, hand-picked from their ever-changing inventory, and walk out with your dream car. Toyota of New Orleans, 13150 I-10 Service Road in the East. Thanks to Troy Duhon, Toyota of New Orleans, and the Premier Automotive Group family. We'll talk New Orleans Saints football when sportsNOLAtv continues in just a moment.